Hi, you guys. Welcome back to the podcast, You Can Heal Your Own Life. I'm your host, Laura, and for those of you who are back for a second episode of this podcast, you may have some questions or a lot of thoughts based on the first episode and everything that I went through. And we're going to get into a little of that today, in where I can show you my warning signs in the beginning and how you can use those warning signs in your own life to start to communicate with your own body, ultimately connecting you to your intuition. So for those of you who are wondering, yes, you can, again, absolutely heal from any kind of physical or emotional symptoms you have naturally. But the key is honoring where you're at right now, and that requires noticing. Now, I know that can truly be the hardest thing to do, and I say that very empathetically because I have been through this. When you're in pain and you are limited in what you can do, you do have those urges to just get things done. I want you to know that first, you are not alone. In this world where we are bombarded nearly every minute on our smartphones or tablets or computers or apps for how to have the best gut health or how to alleviate depression, how to cure anxiety, that's a popular one, how to be more spiritual. There's all these how-to videos and how-to podcasts as if to teach us things we actually inherently know already how to do. The issue most of the time is it's not that we don't know how to do these things, but we've become so accustomed to growing or persevering, leveling up, going inward. And we have all of these things that we're, in quotes, doing, which is supposed to get us to the next level. But what we've forgotten is that we all have this very tiny voice that exists in all of us. It's that voice that came into us when we were little. That's your intuition. Some people call it gut feeling, some people call it instinct, some people call it the still small voice, especially if you're spiritual and you believe in a higher power. Whatever it is our superpower. It's your superpower within you. There's a reason that you didn't want those carrots when you were little, or you wanted the crusts cut off your bread. You knew, I don't like that. That doesn't taste good to me. Or, you just had such energy when you were little, you started just running around the whole living room because you just needed to get that out. It wasn't something that you thought up in your mind. It was something that your body just communicated to you. And because when we were little, we don't really overthink things, we haven't been through so much trauma or experiences just yet, we just go and do it. We just go and do it, or we just go and say it. And it's only that when we're older, we start to curb those urges and we start to second guess our emotions or second guess what we just said or what we want based on other people. So let's talk a little bit about why we ignore, and then I will explain how this little superpower can be everything when it comes to healing. So why we ignore? Well, we've gotten beat up through the years. Whether it's mentally or sadly physically, maybe it's emotionally, maybe it's all of those. But we've been told that through these things, through getting bullied, through people saying this is the way, whether it's our teachers, our parents, our therapists, whoever is our authority, whoever it is that we look up to, we got in this habit thinking that others know best. And we've been led to believe that we need that confirmation. And it goes into our adolescence. So, for example, I would constantly ask my friends, so do you think he really likes me? Because he does this and this and this. So, I think he likes me, but what do you think? We want confirmation. We want to know what our friends think, or our mom or our dad, whoever it is that we're close to. We want to know, what is their opinion? So we have this pattern of going to others for advice or opinions. because we've been so inundated with bullying and getting people's opinions and being taught that, maybe actually we don't know so much. We don't know the best things. We get into a habit of going to others. So we start to trust the other people more than ourselves because of A, their experience, or B, their degree, or C, their popularity. They have something that proves that I'm an expert in this field. We tend to put our trust and our opinions in that person. It's not necessarily a bad thing because it does show from their experience they do know what they're talking about. But what happens is we start to, again, make it a habit. And then we go to them for everything. So for example, we go to doctors because of their degree or their past surgeries they've done. So we go to them because of their expertise. And this confirmation, it expands to going to our mentors too. So we have these famous self-help guides like Jay Shetty, Tom and Lisa Bilyeu, Eckhart Tolle is a big one, Tony Robbins, Ed Milet, Mark Manson. There are so many self-help guides out there that are ready to give you some advice and some plan or opinions on how to help this and this. And then it expands on our social media as well. So confirmation of likes means, well, that was a good post. This was interesting enough. But it all boils down to, okay, I'm doing well, I'm doing good, I'm being successful. There's so many ways that we can confirm that we're liked, or we're making the right decisions, or that we are growing, we are leveling up based on the confirmations that we get from others. And that confirmation can be summed up in one word that reflects how we go forward, and that is safety. And we all need safety, something we can trust in, that we know at the very basis, no matter what is going on, physically or emotionally, that we are safe. These confirmations, deep down, feel like that to us. We feel like we're in a comfortable, safe place. Back to the topic on self-help. How to be this, how to be this. We're constantly looking to level ourselves up. And the ironic thing is that we flock to aisles in the bookstore or podcasts or social media pages for this, in quotes, self-help to find a book or podcast or article or influencer that is not ourself. And herein, I found, lies the first problem of where physical or emotional symptoms actually start to stick around. Now, I know some of you might be super hating that I just called out your guru, or maybe what you think I just put a bomb in how you think as a human. You're just feeling some sort of way. And whatever you're feeling on what I've just said, I want you to just notice it in your body first. Did you tense somewhere when I said this information? Did you relax somewhere? Did your breathing quicken or did your breathing slow? It doesn't matter whether you agree with me or not, or you hate me. It does not matter at all. All it is I want you to just notice what happened in your body when I started speaking about all of these things, whether you agreed or not. I want you to write down what you noticed in your body, physically how you felt, and where you felt it. The reason that you want to do this first is because our body is the house of our intuition. It's the first sign that something feels right, or something feels wrong, or something just feels off. It's actually in our physical body before it even has a chance to hit the mind. So, whatever you're currently dealing with, be it physical, emotional, the first thing to do when that symptom is happening or that person says something to you is just notice. What just happened in your body? So I'm going to give you an example to get a little personal before things kind of skyrocketed out of control for me. Before I became so weak that an outside source like black mold could have the chance to overtake my body and wreak havoc on my immune system, where autoimmune symptoms started to form and become chronic. Instead of trusting that inner knowing, I pushed past it. And the other thing that I found that is super insightful of the body is this. Wherever that first symptom is, whatever part of your body that symptom is in, whether it's the heart, it's the lungs, the wrist, the arms, biceps, the feet, the ankles, knee, toes, the back, the kidneys, the neck, the head, the fingers, the nose, the eyes, the mouth, the stomach, the intestines, there is a reason. There is pain or tightness or tensing in that specific area. If you have been here with a physical symptom, looking back in the starting stages, you can trace it back to a warning. That is your body's first line of communication with you, saying simply, hey, notice me, notice this. If you can know this, just by noticing those sensations, you can actually communicate with your body and your mind and start to actually heal things faster. And this can't be felt or fully understood by doctors or outside influences because they are not in your body feeling these things. Only you. So I'm going to give you an example of how it started for me. I ran 5 days a week, sometimes 6. Outside, sometimes inside. I did sprinting, I did HIIT, I did dance, I did weightlifting. I also worked an active job at Starbucks 8 hours a day, so I was constantly on my feet. I came home, I also walked my dog, and we did like an hour-long walk at the end of my shift, and that was uphill and downhill. I also did a lot of Pilates. So I was very, very, very active. I would travel to different states for roles. I would also be on alert for if I had an audition. I had a few different auditions coming in at a time. When I did voiceover, I also was standing up. So when I did audiobooks, that would be, standing for a few hours at a time. And then when I took breaks, I would walk outside. So as you can see with my life, I was barely ever sitting down and taking a break. I did meditate after every shower. That was kind of part of my routine. I would take a shower after my hour-long workout for about probably like 15 minutes, but then I would be up and doing my thing again. So I actually started to feel snapping happen in my left foot. And I was like, well, this is really weird. What is this sensation? And I pushed past it because I had healed from injuries before. I had, pulled something, strained my hamstring before from running, and then I had to foam roll and stay off it for a week. But I would heal very, very fast. So I thought nothing of it. Then it actually got to the point where I started hiding it at Starbucks. I would wrap my ankle and I started limping at Starbucks. And my boss started noticing and she's like, do I need to put you on drive-thru? What should I do? What do you need? And because of my pride, I just said, oh, I'm good. I'm just gonna push past it. It's totally fine. Basically, I did that for a few shifts, and then the snapping started to actually get more violent to the point where when it was snapping, it hurt so bad that I would suck back tears. This happened at work. This also happened randomly when I was on the phone. I could never really pin it down to something that was going on, specifically that was setting it off because it was so random. Then it just kept happening and happening. And then I was put on drive-thru at Starbucks. And then I ended up actually being in a chair because it started to hurt anytime I put weight on it. So it just kept, snapping to the point where every time it snapped, I was crying. It hurt so bad, but I would just wipe up my tears and be like, it's okay. My friends basically at Starbucks said, you could go on disability. And that word had such a kind of reaction in me. I was like, I'm not disabled. Like I'm going to be fine. I don't need that. And so I continued to the point where one day I was on hot bar towards the end of the day and the snapping came and I was on the floor, full on crying, and I couldn't put weight on my foot because it hurt so bad. I remember Sean, if he's listening, oh my God, thank you so much for this. You are such a rock star and a hero. He came barreling out from the back because he heard me crying and being on the floor, and he carried me to the back, and then he just said, Laura, you need to talk to a foot doctor. You need to see what's going on. This was probably going on for about 3 weeks to a month. I was very, very sure that this was going to get better. And anyways, that's what happened, and I couldn't walk on it. And so after that happened, I went home. I called a podiatrist, ordered a walking boot because that's what they told me. So I made an appointment for Monday. Monday came, I was seen by the podiatrist, and of course his answer was to look at the symptoms of this snapping and get to what this might actually be and see if there was physically some things that I could do to alleviate this. So he went straight to the problem, which is exactly what a doctor does, right? They look at the symptoms and they go right to, okay, action. What is the problem? Snapping. What could snap? Well, it would probably be a tendon. It could be ligaments. It could be possibly muscles. He had me do an x-ray. Nothing was on there. So he concluded, okay, possibly a tear, definitely some inflammation. And, knowing that I was a dancer and a runner, I worked at Starbucks, I was always on my feet, and I had a very, very active life, he concluded, well, you definitely have some tendonitis down here in the arch of the foot, running down into the toe area. So he's like, I want you to go home. I want you to rest. I want you to ice, elevate, and take anti-inflammatories. And you have to take at least 3 weeks off work. So that was just the first appointment. And I'll go through the second appointment in another episode. But for now, to get back to my point of noticing, is looking back on this, especially if you're in the early stages of having something physically go off in your body, I want you to notice it again as the first line of communication and go deeper with it. So I'll walk you through what this is like. Let's look at the body part, foot. The foot is a way of getting around. It's the natural way to control movement in all directions. It allows us to move forward or backward in life. It's a way for us to run, walk, swim, jog, sprint, hop. It allows for so many different movements. And it allows all form of mobility to do what we need to do as humans and to be able to do what we want to do in life in moving. Even getting to a car. If you don't walk a lot, you still have to use your feet to get into a car and drive yourself to the place you need to go. So when this body part is in perfect health and balance, it does not need assistance or help in healing. It doesn't need medication to perform as it was designed to. It just moves as it's meant to with no obstacles. Moving is easy, and therefore we flow with life easier because this part of the body, even if one is out of balance, it affects how we're going forward. So now let's look at the sensation of snapping and what that could mean. So the act or feeling of snapping means something like, I'm reaching my limit of what I can handle. I'm on edge. I'm irritated. I'm annoyed. I feel you aren't listening to me. I can only handle so much. These are just some examples of when we snap in life, what we're really feeling inside. If I had it to do over again, knowing my first symptom, my first thought would be, What is snapping in my life? Followed by some of these questions. Is there something that is making me feel on edge? What do I feel is annoying me right now? Is there something I'm secretly irritated at? Do I need to speak up about something I feel? What do I need to acknowledge or look at right now? Now, let's look at what the foot represents. Do I feel I cannot move forward in my life? Do I need to take a break from something? Am I overdoing something? Am I pushing too hard for something? Does my body quite literally need a break? So you can look at those two things separately. You can look at the action of what the body part is doing or feeling. And then you can look at the actual body part itself. Then you can go even deeper with it. Is something clogged? Is something clotted? Is something not flowing through? Is something snapping? Is something broken? So you got to look at what is happening in that area. And then you can go deeper with it concerning all major things that all of us humans get stressed out about or ponder. 1, money. How do I feel about that? 2, relationships. How are those going? Career or job. Do I like what I do? Children or pets. Am I giving too much energy to my child or pet and not enough to myself? Friends. Do I feel good around them? Past. Is there something unresolved that needs my attention for me to move forward in my life? Future. Am I putting too much pressure on myself to move forward quickly or to attain something that I really want? These are just an example of what I could have taken the time to look at while starting to heal this snapping that was going on in my foot. They are also things that were a stress starting to manifest in my body that I didn't take the time to look at. What happens when we don't look at these things? When we have a problem and we push past it, or we just run to the doctor before even considering what could it possibly mean, those things start to store in the body. And then what happens, they often manifest themselves as sickness or disease or injuries or just some weird random symptoms because the body has no other way of letting you know this area needs attention. That's the only way that the body can let us know. It's the only way that it was designed to let us know is through sensations, whether that's pain, discomfort, or something feels nice. That's the only way physically it can let us know that we're doing really well or we need some attention. So just notice that headache, that tightness, that snapping, that breaking, that pain, the digestion issues, the constipation. I could go on and on. This is the only way the body lets us know, hey, look over here. We need some attention. So just notice. And I want you to think of this as a superpower. This is something that no doctor, teacher, therapist, friend, guru, or anyone outside of yourself can do for you, and you are the only one feeling those sensations. Only you and your body. So, thank you so much for listening, you guys. If you try this out, let me know how it went for you and how you feel afterward. And always remember that you are not alone. You and your body ultimately hold the key to your best vitality and your best health. That's it for now. I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye!